Kev. Well, we're looking forward, obviously, to playing better basketball than we did against Virginia last year. We had two really subpar games, and that's due to their outstanding defense. They're still a great defensive team, as their numbers indicate. Pretty much with programs like Virginia with their defense, the players change, but the defense doesn't. So we know we're going to have to play much better offensive basketball, and I think we're capable of doing that.
A lot of teams try to play good defense,
Well, they choke down the lane. They don't give you, they trap the post. They don't give you drives to the lane, and all they'll really give you is contested jump shots. They don't give you very much. They don't go to the offensive glass with numbers, so they get back and they don't give you transition buckets. So from a percentage standpoint, they do everything to take away the high percentage shot on offense. No question. Not only that, but a lot of times their defense is so good that the shot clock's winding down. Same thing with them. When they play against us, they'll take a lot of shots within 7 seconds of the shot clock.
What did you see watching film from the game?
It was just a great game by both teams. It was a well-played game, very similar to Carolina, Kentucky. It was just two teams that played good basketball, and we were able to make free throws at the end. They missed some at the end. And generally, it comes down to turnovers and free throws. And we did a really good job taking high percentage shots in that game and getting it. Obviously, Quentin had a great game.
I rewatched the game the other day, and I saw a couple times when you dropped Quentin down. It was 2-3 from Houston. Is that a new thing? Have you done that before? Or?
It wasn't. It was the whole game we did.
Okay.
It wasn't just.
Is that a new thing?
That was a new thing for that game. Very much so. We got him out of having to defend the pick and roll. Possibly.
How did you get Quentin to play the way you wanted him to? I think I saw something where you said you wanted to play more like a point guard, true point guard, and he could score. And that was what went into that transformation.
Well, we just talked 2 games ago. I said, Quentin, you're trying to play like a 2 guard rather than a point guard, and that's why you're scoring less. I said, because you're not looking to raise the level of other players, and every time you do that, you wind up getting better shots yourself. And that was true of the last 2 games. He played like a true point guard.
How does that happen? That if you're looking for other people, you get better shots yourself?
Because you're the beneficiary of the other guy passing to you for a better shot. You put somebody else in a situation where somebody has to rotate to them, you wind up getting a better shot. And then also the defense closes out on the perimeter because they know you're going to dish, and you wind up getting a better shot. And he just did a great job of pushing the pace. The one thing about Q is his stamina is great. He very rarely gets tired.
With that version of him against Kentucky, can that be him more consistently? It didn't look like he played out of his mind. He played the way that you wanted him to play. Can he be that guy more consistently?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll score 22 points, but he can definitely play that way consistently. Like you said, he didn't do anything that was beyond his ability to do each night. But in the last 2 games, he's played more like a point guard. And that, but when you hear the term point guard, that doesn't mean non-scoring point guard. It just means getting in the paint, creating situations for your teammates.
On the same note, how do you create that consistency or show that consistency from being able to?
Say the last part again.
How do you get Daniel to be consistent like he was against Kentucky?
Well, he's also played well of late. The one thing about players today is they judge good play by scoring. And that's okay. The bad part about that is when they don't score, they think they're playing poorly. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you got to give credit to your defense. If Louisville's concentrating on stopping Monk from getting a good look three-point line. It's not that he's off. It could be Louisville making that focus on him. And it could be that the focus is on Dang Adele to stop him sometimes. And if he's doing other things, he's not playing poorly. But unfortunately today, the mentality of players is scoring determines that's their barometer for playing well. And that's wrong.
How do you get through them to, that it is the other things that they're lost?
We pointed out to him through film, look at what, when we show film and the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's our thing, we very rarely show scoring as a major positive.
Could you hope for a better performance and better progress in the non-conference than you got? You're 11-1, one better.
Well, we're improving, and that's what you want to see. Each week you want to see yourselves get better. But like I said before, every game is, Wichita State is a little bit like Virginia, except Wichita State runs a little bit more, but they play the same type of defense as Virginia does. Old Dominion plays like Virginia from a pace standpoint. They're in the top three as far as less possessions in terms of pace. So the preseason schedule got us ready. Kentucky got us ready for Carolina. Wichita State gets you ready for Virginia. It's every game, the way it's played, gets you ready for another opponent, and it helps you improve.
Are you got to be pleased, I guess, going into the conference?
I try not to get pleased or disappointed right now because of our schedule. I don't think you come, well, just, there's not, if you look at right now, it probably won't happen that way, but there's 13, 14 teams in the ACC and they're running for an NCAA berth. And, all these teams can flat out play. They can all play. BC just beat Providence. So it's the ACC is as strong as it'll ever be. And we've got all these games coming up plus Indiana. So, I try not to get too high. I say I give myself 24 hours to be disappointed, and then I get on to the next game, and I give myself 24 hours to celebrate. Celebrate has a much bigger hangover than the disappointment, but and I don't mean that from an alcohol hangover.
The style between Kentucky and Virginia could be more different, but your guys, especially the starters, have all played against Virginia. Does it help in preparing for them that they at least know what's coming?
Well, I don't know how many of our guys know what's coming. Not a whole lot of them. Maybe Quentin and David and Mango a little bit, but Virginia's very tough game to prepare for. Very difficult. All phases of the game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be difficult to score. You have to be as good as they are defensively. So Virginia's always difficult to play against. And I watched the West Virginia game, and West Virginia pressed on misses, against them. And that game could have gone either way. And then Virginia went in and beat Cal at Cal, who was playing good basketball and has a very strong home court advantage. So Virginia's road tough. They're a very good basketball team, outstanding on defense. Their numbers are great. And they've got great shooters now, too, to go along with that. So I don't think the experience of what you're talking about is there. But it wasn't necessarily playing against Kentucky either. Because this team is inexperienced. I had Larry talk to him a little bit today about what it meant to play in a Final Four, what it was like, because you have no NCAA experience in this team with the exception of Q and a little bit of Mango, So this is all new to them.
Is there a Virginia type player? Does he recruit a specific kind of player to fit his system, or does he make them once they're there?
That's something you'd have to ask him. I don't know the inner workings of what he does.
How they
Yeah.
do that? Their typical player that you played against, what are some attributes that Virginia stopped?
It's just it's the same as his dad was when his dad was coaching. It's the same system, what his dad taught him as a basketball player. And Tony was an outstanding shooter himself, so he looks at guys who can knock the shot down as well. But he fits his pieces, and he gets a round peg to fit in a round hole. He understands. He gets guys to buy into what they're trying to accomplish.
You mentioned, we were talking about Dang earlier. What do you remember about him when recruiting and how much progress he's seen?
Well, Dang it's typical of, I look at his progress like I look at some of the other guys who are more athletes than basketball players. and they've got to learn to play basketball. Like there's no finer athlete than Ray Spalding, but right now he has to learn to be a much better basketball player. And Deng was the same way. He's learning how to become a much better basketball player. But sometimes it's a little easier teaching him how to play basketball than it is to be an athlete.
Is there, as a coach, do you, I know you played soccer for most of his life, as a coach, do you want your guys to have experience playing other sports? Does that have any impact?
Well, soccer's, Gorky had good footwork, and you watch Mango sometimes, he makes a mistake in passing the basketball because he puts the ball behind his head like a soccer player. You're not supposed to do that as a basketball player. So that's probably the only weakness from soccer, but generally the guys have really good feet, and Gorky had very good feet. Mango's got good feet, and Deng Adele has exceptional feet.
Touched on this, but does the conference look any different to you now than a month ago?
Probably not.
Any perspective?
No, probably not. You know, there was a surprising score, maybe one surprising score. Outside of that, no.
What was the surprise?
St. John's beating Syracuse by 33, I think. Yeah, that's just one of those nights where I've had them before, you just forget about it and move on to the next game.
How different will the pace be in this game from what we saw in Wisconsin?
Polar opposites. You know, we'll try to run, and they'll fast break as well, but you'll find it'll be a low-scoring game. You know, it's just going to be. It's two very good defensive teams, and no matter how much we both try to run, it's going to be a low-scoring game.
When your guys do try to run like that and are unable to, do you sense any frustration in them throughout a game like this?
No, they know. I told them the same thing with Old Dominion. I said, no matter how much you try to force the pace of this game, the teams that want to play slow, who are talented, are going to learn to play slow. We just got to beat them at that game. And we wound up beating them, but overtime. So it's, you know, you don't get the high percentage shot of like you did against the Kentucky game, part of the fast breaks. There's not as many fast breaks in the game because there's not as many possessions. And they're not going to go to the offensive glass with numbers where you can get numbers.
You've seen your guys, you know, because of the pace, because of the style, you've seen your guys get frustrated against them, and you have to try to kind of coach against that within the game.
I think they get frustrated by great defense, not by the pace of the game. I think they just play. They don't give you an easy shot. You know, there's no such a thing against Virginia as post play, because they trap the post. As the ball is in the air, two guys are trapping you. And they truly play five guys playing the basketball. And they call it their pack line defense, and it's an excellent defense. But we have to play them twice. That was being on Santa Claus's not list, you know, being naughty, you get to play Virginia twice. The ACC said, you know, Louisville's new, so we'll give them Virginia twice.
How was the transition from,
Well, we gave the guys off for Christmas for a few days, which was good. And we've had decent practices, nothing great. Honest has he's wearing a mask right now. He had his eye yesterday was completely closed, and it was like a scene from a Rocky movie. He got hit twice in practice, but I mean, his whole eye was completely closed with a gigantic red knot over it. And I told Fred to cut him, but he didn't listen.
is he gonna wear that mask tomorrow night?
No. I don't know how a 7-footer gets hit twice in the eye in one practice, you know, but Jalen got him once and Mango got him once. But I'm telling you, it was completely shut with a knot the size of a golf ball on his eye. Kenny's got a picture of it.
Anything else for Coach?
All righty, thanks.
Thanks.